So thanks for remembering 2 weeks later and for coming today. So as Ben said, today's talk's about the 9 dimensions, or it's a trip through the 9 dimensions. Master Okawa, and I'll just very quickly start with talking a little bit about happy science and also a little bit about Master Okawa. Master Okawa has now published over 900 books. I remember when I first started studying the teachings of happy science or talking about happy science, I used to say, Master Okawa has published 300 books. And then periodically, Master Okawa has published 400 books, and it's just been continuing to rise. So it's an absolutely prolific, incredibly prolific author. And this particular seminar is based on this book, The 9 Dimensions, which is, well, just to give a very quick introduction to what happened and why Master Okawa can publish 900 books, was on March 23rd, 1981, he was working in the world of business. He was involved in international finance. He was always a very good student. In Japan they do tests for testing students. He was the top student in Japan. He graduated from Tokyo University, which would be like graduating from Harvard University, the top university. He got into the world of international finance. He used to say to his friends, I'd like to leave thoughts for the future 3,000 years. That was like his dream as a kid. You know, as kids we always have dreams. And his dream was maybe to be able to leave thoughts for 3,000 years, which sounds a little bit far out there, but that actually turned out to be the reality of what his life was going to be about. But working in the world of international finance, one day, on March 23rd, 1981, he felt somebody wants to communicate with me. So he sat down, got out a piece of paper, got a pen, and his hand started writing of its own accord. And it just, on that day, said, good news, good news, good news, good news. And he said, okay, sure, there must be something else other than that you want to share. But that's all that happened on that day. But subsequent to that day, not a day has gone by since March 23rd, 1981, the Master Okawa has not communicated with the spirit world. And he continued to deepen and deepen his enlightenment, and it went from automatic writing to actually being able to speak. So he was able to actually accept the spirit of a person that's passed away, that's living in the other world, into his body and speak. And him and his father recordings of various high spirits. And he was quite amazed with the spirits that he was speaking with. I mean, it was people like Socrates, Gandhi, Jesus, Moses, Confucius, and a huge array of people who we consider high spirits. So but because Master Okawa was only 24 years old at the time, he thought, I'm too young to go and start teaching people about spiritual truth. Nobody will really take me seriously, or I need to also deepen my knowledge. So he decided that he would spend time exploring the spirit world, understanding more about the laws of the spirit world. So he actually spent between the ages of 24 and 1 week after his 30th birthday. He said 1 week after his 30th birthday, many of the high spirits descended and said, it's time for you to embark on your mission. Your mission is to spread a new truth, a truth that creates a universal truth for the whole world that combines all the religions. So Master Okawa left his job, started Happy Science. It took about 2 months actually just resting and meditating and getting his mind to a nice calm state. After that 2 months rest, in a period of 1 month he wrote 3 books, which are actually these 3 books here. The Laws of the Sun, which is the book Ben said that he found. It's also the book I found when I first discovered Happy Science. The 9 Dimensions and the Golden Laws. And really, The Laws of the Sun is a book about enlightenment. It teaches what is the soul, what is love, where do human beings come from, the creation of the universe. It teaches pretty much everything. Master Okawa predicts that in the future this book will become scripture. This will be a book that people on the earth use to understand who we are and where we came from. This book, The 9 Dimensions, which the seminar is on today, is actually a book on what he calls space, because it talks about the multi-dimensional space of the universe, or the space that we live in. So it talks about how, I'm going to talk a lot more about this shortly, so just for briefly though, but that we're in the 3rd dimension, but beyond this world there's a spirit world with many different dimensions within that spirit world. So this is a book on space, teaching about all the different dimensions that exist. And this is a book on time, because this talks about 3,000 years of history of various angels that have been coming to the earth, unfolding God's plan. There's actually a plan from the heavenly world to lead the world into a particular direction. So this talks about 3,000 years, and in here there's hundreds of names of people and who they were in a past life and what dimension they came from and what their thoughts were. So when you consider that he wrote these 3 books in 1 month at 30 years old and said, these will be the core of my teachings, and they still are today. He's gone on to publish now over 900 books, but these 3 books are still the very, very core of the teachings in Happy Science. So today's seminar is on the 9 dimensions, or a journey through the 9 dimensions. So our goal today is to be able to really get a clear understanding about the spirit world. Because one of the key things about understanding the spirit world and having the faith in the spirit world is that usually we associate ourselves with the physical body, and it's very hard to not associate ourselves with the physical body, because everything that we do and everything we see and our whole life reality is based on this physical world. So I have no doubt that I have a body. I can see it, I can touch it, I can feel it, I can see all of you, and so we all relate to each other with this physical body. But in Happy Science, what we learn is that we, actually have a spiritual body, which takes on the same shape as our physical body. So inside our physical body, we have a soul or a spiritual body. But because we can't see it, it's easy to forget about that. So we tend to live in a physical plane and think physically or materialistically rather than spiritually. So in Happy Science, one of the goals is to acquire a very deep-seated spiritual view of life. So that takes constant reminding, because if we don't remind ourselves, we do just naturally drift back to a material way of life again. This physical body, if I was lying on the ground, it might look like I'm asleep, but if I was dead, what's the difference? Well, the difference is that the soul's no longer in the body, and the soul lives in eternity. How wonderful is that? We really do live forever. You'll never die. If we really, really understand that deeply, really, really deeply, we will never fear death. But no matter how much we try to tell ourselves that I never die, as soon as the idea of dying comes up, we feel fear. That means we actually we haven't attained that level of enlightenment yet, where it's really, really become our reality. So the more we study spiritual truth and identify ourselves with our spiritual body, the less the fear of death will ever affect us, and the fear of and the death of a loved one. Of course we have a period of grieving and sadness, but the more we base our lives on the spiritual truth, the less the death of loved ones will affect us, because we know they've just travelled off to the other world. Actually, we can still communicate them. As we learn through Happy Science, we'll talk some more about this today, but by using our mind, we can actually, and our thoughts, we can communicate with people who have left this world. So loved ones that have left, you can actually communicate with them, and you can actually train yourself to be able to even hear what they would say back to you. But to do that, you have to get your heart on the same wavelength as theirs. And if they're in a heavenly world, you have to be able to attain a heavenly state of mind, which is we can achieve through meditation. But we're going to cover some more of this as we go along. So the physical body and the spiritual body, but why? Why do we have a physical body and a spiritual body? Why don't we just live in the heavenly world? Why can't we just stay there all the time? Why do we have to come here? So what we learn in Happy Science, that this world is a training ground for the soul. Okay? This is not our home. We're all at the gym, right? So we've come here to train the soul. Now, when you think about a person who goes to the gym, it hurts. When you do weights, you suffer, right? I don't tend to go to the gym myself, but I've seen people who go to the gym. And, when they do the weights, they're actually, you can tell, they're really suffering and struggling, and one more, and they grimace. But why? Why do they make so much effort? And we all know it's because they know that through making the effort of lifting weights, and it doesn't have to be the gym, it could be running, it could be any form of exercise, is tiring and tough, but we push ourselves through it. We could be at home sitting on the couch watching TV, right? But we actually put ourselves through difficulty for the one purpose, that we know it's good for us. We know that we will feel better through training ourselves and keeping our health. Well, it's exactly the same for the soul. Now, everybody here has probably got different views and beliefs, but that's the other thing. Where did our views and our beliefs come from? I heard Ben talking a little bit before about different religions, but all of us have got views and ideas, but where did they come from? And they generally come from something that we were taught when we were younger. So young Amy here, you know, she's naturally been born into a family which is studying the teachings of happy science. For her, she will grow up and all of these teachings will be completely normal, and this was the way it is. So everybody in the world has got different mixed views, and often people are very set in their views and very stubborn about their views, but actually those views were just given to them by somebody at some time and they took them on board. So I think it's always a good idea to be willing to evaluate our views and see if there could be something outside our existing belief that might be actually something that could work better for us and be closer to a way. So what we believe in happy science is that the spirit world is the real world. That is our home. So that's where we live. But periodically, we come to this world and enter into a physical body to undergo soul training. And every time we have a life, because there's a gap of around about, Master Okawa teaches, there's a gap of around about 300 or 400 years between our lives. Okay, so it's not like there's some traditional Buddhism teaches that if I die today, I'll reincarnate in about 1 or 2 months' time. But Master Okawa said, life is suffering. Buddha taught life is suffering. Life is very difficult. To be born and then die and be born again would be like hell. You know, constantly, no rest, just constantly going through endless suffering. But it's actually not that way. It's a combination between what's taught in Christianity and what's taught in Buddhism, in that the other world, the spirit world, is our true home. But that when we arrive back there, we will spend on average about 300 or 400 years there before we then decide, I'm ready for another life. I'm ready to go for some more soul training. And we plan a life, and we plan our partners, we plan our children, we plan the sort of work we're going to be involved with. We even put some difficulties, some stumbling blocks in our way that we'll come across. And then we're born into this world, and we aim to achieve the best we can in the given circumstances. So, you know, even a person that's born maybe handicapped and lived their life in a wheelchair, they can very likely and very often have chosen that life. So, you know, we shouldn't always feel sorry for them, but actually do our best to help them and congratulate them on choosing such a difficult life. But people actually, not Mother Teresa, Helen Keller is an example Master Okawa teaches. She comes up a little bit further on today too. She chose to be born deaf and blind so that she could accomplish as much as possible and show people, no matter how difficult your circumstances, you can still live a positive life. And she showed us that, you know. So we all have got much more favourable conditions in our bodies than what she had, and yet she was still able to achieve so much. So she was proving, no matter who you are, no matter what your environment, you can still do great things. So we come here, we live 70 or 80 years, and then we return back to the spirit world. Now, the more evolved the soul, and a big part of our trip today through the 9 dimensions is going to be exploring all the different dimensions and the type of mindset that we have to exist in those different dimensions. Because this world, one of the amazing things about this world is all the different souls from all the different dimensions can come here. So we can have souls, really, really highly enlightened souls, like Jesus, for instance, to really unevolved souls, people who haven't travelled so far along the path. But just one thing is, we are all equal, right? We are all equal in that we all have Buddha nature, okay? But there's equality and there's distinction, right? Equality means we're all equal, but distinction means some people have made effort and walked further along the path, and we should recognise that. So somebody like Gandhi, you know, and somebody like a murderer, they're equal in that they both have Buddha nature and they both have the same potential, but obviously they're both different people by the way that they're living and the level of enlightenment that they've attained. So with the soul training, the whole purpose of it is to be born into this world, and if you imagine, say, 300 or 400 years gap between your lives, quite a lot has changed in the world in 300 or 400 years. Can you imagine 300 or 400 years ago if each one of us were living? Well, first of all, we wouldn't be sitting here in front of you know, such a screen like this with all this technology where I can push a button and change it. It's a completely different world. So each time we're born into the world has changed a lot. And one of the keys to happiness is, you know, how do we feel happiness? Well, we believe that happiness comes from when you experience progress. You know, if you feel yourself improving, you actually feel happy. And this system of reincarnation that we're given, whereby we can live in the heavenly world, come here, soul training, take all of that experience, it goes into the soul, nothing's ever wasted, return back to the heavenly world. Our consciousness is always expanding and we're feeling ourselves improve. So while we're improving, we feel happy. And this system of reincarnation ensures we have eternal progress because, welcome. Because we can eternally reincarnate between this world and the next world, it means that we are always learning and always improving. So that means eternal happiness. Some might think, why can't we just go to heaven and live there forever? But if you think about, since you live in eternity, imagine after, glad you can make it, hi. Imagine after 1,000 years, 2,000 years, 5,000 years in heaven where you've got no challenges, everything you want, you don't actually have any worries. That might sound great. What about after 10,000 years, 20,000 years, 100,000 years, 1,000,000 years? You know, wouldn't we start to get a little bored? You know, it's actually lack of challenges. Don't we love challenges? Why would anyone ever want to swim across the English Channel? No, you can catch a boat, it's a lot easier, you know, catch a plane, it's a lot easier. Why would anyone want to do that? It's because through challenges and overcoming challenges, we feel good. We feel like, I achieved that, and we gain something. And it's the same thing of being born into this world. So the system of reincarnation, we believe, is actually a great, great gift that was given to us by God to ensure eternal happiness through eternal progress. Okay, so now, since we are progressing, what are we progressing through? Well, we can see here these different dimensions, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. We believe the 9th dimension is the ultimate realm of human consciousness. This seminar today, we only go up as far as the 9th dimension because this is the realm of the Saviour, Jesus, Moses, Buddha, these great beings, and it's the ultimate realm of human consciousness. In Happy Science, we do learn about consciousness beyond that, such as a planetary consciousness, or the consciousness of our star, or the consciousness of our galaxy and the universe, but that's another seminar called The Laws of the Sun. But this seminar, the highest one we're going to is human consciousness. Now, down here we'll see the 3rd dimension, or the earthly realm, and then the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. Well, as I was saying before, in this third dimension, this physical world, the souls from all these different dimensions, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, can be born into this world. And that's what makes this such a great training ground. Because when we're living in the other world, say you were just a naturally good person, and this is really the beginning of the heavenly world, the 5th dimension. If you were living in the 5th dimension, it's impossible for you to actually be face to face with someone from the 7th or 8th dimension unless they come down to your level. From the higher dimensions they can descend, but naturally from the dimension that you're at, it's like you've reached a certain level. That's where you're at, you know. So to rise to the other levels, you need to actually change your mind. So what Master Okawa teaches is it's actually a wavelength of our soul, or another way of putting it, the core of the soul is the mind. Our thoughts and our feelings, our emotions, our self is a vibration, and that vibration determines where we go. It's a bit like filling a balloon with helium, and it will naturally rise. It will rise up and up and up, but it'll reach a certain height where it naturally fits. If you fill an air with oxygen, it drops. You know, so it just is natural laws of physics, and it's the same in the spirit world. So the vibration of our soul will put us into a place where people have got similar states of mind to ourselves, and that's the people are very agreeable that we live with. So everybody's a friend. You know, if you're in the heavenly world, there's no people walking around with dark, hateful, spiteful thoughts. You know, they happen to be somewhere else. So these are different stages of the spirit world, and love evolves through stages. And so we also call it developmental stages of love, or developmental stages of the soul. This is another picture of the same idea with the three-dimensional earth realm. Now you'll notice down here we've got a little dark area called hell. Master Okawa teaches, yeah, there is a hell realm. Ultimately, all of these are different stages of love, right? Well, hell also is an aspect of love, but it's love reversed. The essence of love is giving. Okay, essence of love means that I want you to be happy, right? In my heart, I just want you to be happy, right? And if I see you happy, I feel happy. That's love. Right? That's love at the very basic level. Fundamental love just says, I just like you and I want you to be happy. Well, hell is love reversed. Love says, I want to be happy and I don't even care if it causes suffering to you. So hell is love that takes. It means I want you to take love from you. I want you to give me love. I don't care if it causes you suffering. I just want to be happy. You know, everybody wants to be happy, right? But taking love never brings us happiness. And one of the key teachings in Happy Science is this teaching of love that gives. You know, that actually when we do things that bring happiness to other people, we ourselves, and we give love to others, because the universe is full of love, we actually receive love from the great essence of God, Buddha, whatever you want to call, but we receive love, and when we give love, it flows to other people. And there's love, as we give love, that is love. You know, to experience love, all you have to do is give love. But too often people are thinking, oh, how can I get love? And the people are searching in the world trying to get more love. I need love. And they do things to try. And if they do something for somebody and then the person doesn't do something in return, they suffer. Because, oh, I did this for you. How can you treat me like that? Or why didn't you do this for me? This is taking love. Okay? In Happy Science, we teach you can be the control of your own happiness purely by learning to give love without having any expectations. The moment you can give love to others and not care about anything about what they do in return, you are in control of your own happiness, because what they do doesn't matter. Even if you gave love and someone was spiteful and spoke to you harshly, oh, that's fine, but I'm not going to stop loving you because it feels too good. So giving...
What's 1 and 2? I have to ask.
Certainly. Pardon? Well, 1 and 2, yeah. Okay, so 1 would be like a straight line. Okay, a dimension means that there's, for instance, a straight line is just like this, right? A 2-dimensional would be like a piece of paper because it's height and width. 3-dimensional means height, width, and depth. So yeah. So we didn't put 1 and 2 because really nothing's really probably living on the line or on the piece of paper. But 3-dimensional is this world, and then so the 4th dimension, the new element that's actually added in the 4th dimension, we're going to cover that now. Thank you very much. So actually, just before we do that, you know how we're looking here, we have the different dimensions. At the top, we have Alcantari. Alcantari will be a new name that we talk about today. Al means light, Cantari means the earth. So Alcantari literally means light of the earth. Master Okawa has been teaching that this consciousness that in Christianity is spoken of as God, in Buddhism it's Buddha, in Muslim teaching it's Allah, in different teachings it's a different name. But Master Okawa said in the heavenly world, this consciousness that's really the overseeing the development of the earth and responsible for the light that comes to the earth is called Alcantari. Below that is the 9th dimensional saviors, such as Jesus and Moses. And then below that we've got the archangels. Well, in our own mind, so these different stages in the spirit world, in our own mind, we are actually connected to the spirit world already. So there's the 9th dimension, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. So whatever you're experiencing in your life, in your mind, whatever you've connected your mind to is what you're experiencing, but you're already connected to somewhere in the other world. If you've got the mind of an angel, then you're connected to the angel's realm. If your mind is connected to maybe the 5th dimensional realm, it's the realm of the good, and you'll easily be able to hear thoughts from them. This often what we're living with is, you see up the top here, we have the surface consciousness. That's just our day-to-day thoughts. So when we're in everyday life and we're busy and we're watching TV, listening to the radio, working on the computer, doing emails, this is just surface consciousness. And underneath this surface consciousness is a thought tape or thought belt. And all of our thoughts, our words and our actions are recorded. And one day, when we leave this world, we're going to get a chance to see our thought tape. Now, one of the wonderful things I found in this book, The Golden Laws, was chapter 1, where Master Okawa explained about the thought tape. And it was explained so clearly how in this thought tape, all of our thoughts, our words, our actions are recorded. And when we pass away, we'll get to see what sort of life we live pretty quickly by looking at this thought tape, because different thoughts are different colors. When your mind is tuned to the heavenly world, your thoughts are painted in gold. When your mind, say, with envy, it's in green. And if it's in anger, it's in red. And there's all these different colors for the type of emotion that we're feeling at that time. Then if we lived a life where we felt a lot of anger all the time, obviously we're going to have golden moments, but we would see in an instant, oh, look how much of my life I spent in anger, or look how much of my life I spent in envy, or look how much I spent my mind connected to the heavenly world. So Master Okawa said that because of this, there is a wonderful compassion that's given also from God, where through self-reflection, we can change our thought tape to gold. Okay, so in Christianity it's probably called repentance, but we call it self-reflection. Master Okawa teaches that the miracle or the great compassion from God is that if we sit down and reflect on our past and we find mistaken thoughts, words or actions, and we reflect on those and we deeply in our heart apologize, he said those thoughts actually change to gold. So we can change our thought tape. So one of the teachings in Happy Science is a self-reflection. And because it's like, instead of leaving all your homework to when you get to the end of your life, it's a chance to do it now and prepare yourself. And shortly when I show, some of today's seminar is going to show parts of movies out of the Laws of the Eternity or 9 Dimensions movie, whereby we're going to see exactly what happens when people cross over. It's done with anime because it's much easier to show something in the spirit world done with a bit of a cartoon rather than real life. It's much, much harder. And we'll get to see what happens when people cross and they do a self-reflection. So this thought tape, Master Okawa said, is that often though, with all these different colours, he said, you know, say the red and the green, too often they just become a mixture of colours and becomes, and I remember his words quite distinctly, become an indescribably unpleasant shade of grey. So I thought, oh, that's really sad that, you know, so many of us, our thoughts are all mixed up and become grey instead of golden. So the mission in life is, he said, to create a golden thought tape as much as possible. And I thought, oh, that sounds so hard. But then he spoke about time and how actually you only ever have the moment now. All we ever have is this moment now. I mean, this moment now, it's fleeting, right? I mean, 2 seconds ago I was talking, but that's gone already, you know? And this moment now is always just disappearing. But all we ever have is this moment right now. And he said that, you know, instead of worrying about the future, if you just actually think about keeping your mind pointed in the right place right now, you know? And if you can learn to do that now, then if you can keep it there now, your future will be golden, because all you have to worry about is keeping your mind in the right place now. You know, so well, I thought, oh, that sounds okay. I can do it now. I don't have to do it for a week. Don't have to worry about that. But anyway, so this is our surface consciousness, and all of the different stages of the spirit world are connected somewhere in our mind, and in our very heart, we're connected to God or Buddha. So all of us have this divine nature or this Buddha nature. This law of the same wavelengths attraction comes about through this law of when we go to the spirit world and being with like-minded people. So whatever state your mind has in the other world, you'll be around. So even we're talking about the different dimensions, there's also a bit of a sideways thing. So even in the other world, so you two are friends, right? So probably in the other world, you'll be friends. So people who you're friends with now, you're like-minded. The reason you're friends with them is that there's something about them you like. You think similar. You love their humour. There's something about them that you like. Okay, well that will remain. You keep your personality when you leave this world, and you'll likely hang out with the people that you're friends with in this life. And it's very likely that the people that you're friends with in this life, you actually made a plan to meet when you're in the other world. Let's meet and get married. Let's lead and create the best family that we can create. So the law of same wavelengths attraction, there's a positive and a negative to that. There's the positive that once you create a mind full of beauty and harmony, you'll naturally attune yourself to that type of thoughts, and that'll be attracted to you. But if we create any darkness in ourselves, we can also create negativity. Okay, so I'm not going to get too much into today about talking about negative spirits, but people can actually attract negative spirits to them by having a negative way of thinking. It works like a magnet. If we create some sort of grey area in our mind, a dark area in our mind, it's very easy to attract a negative spirit to you, and then your life becomes very, it tends to go a little bit downhill, and you become depressed. But Master Okawa said, we are the ones that need to take responsibility for that, because the only way we can be affected by a negative spirit is if we ourselves have got something that enables them to connect to us. So by keeping your mind bright and positive, you can never be affected by negative spirits. So we've just been talking about the third dimension. It's this physical world, height, width, depth, 3 dimensions. It's a training ground for souls, and souls from all those different dimensions can come here. And that's what makes this world so wonderful, But the dimensions beyond this one, let's move into the look into the 4th dimension, which is the very bottom of the spirit world. We call it also the astral realm. And so even all the birds, animals, everything, they also have souls. Okay, not just humans have souls. Everything that's living has a soul. And Master Okawa said, actually surprisingly, that something that surprised him with his spiritual sight, even minerals have souls. He said even gold and silver and other minerals, when he looks at them, they have a life force in them. And so the astral realm, all the birds and the animals live there. People who don't have any, and I don't believe anybody from this room will go to the 4th dimension, because people who live in the 4th dimension don't believe in the soul. And I doubt if you guys would have gone to the Mind Body Spirit Expo and come here today if you didn't believe that we have a soul. If you only believed in the body, Master Okawa said people who only believe in the physical body, often when they die, they still believe they're alive in a physical body. Now it sounds astounding, but he said they're very stubborn. So even when an angel comes to them and says, "Oh, you've passed away, you're dead. Are you an idiot? Look at me, I'm alive," they reply. So he said it's the very tough work for angels to convince people when they've died that they're actually dead. And they often become earthbound because they believe they're alive and they're attached to this world, they actually stay here. And often they bother family members because the family members can't see them anymore. So they think, why aren't they talking to me? And they do all sorts of things to try to be noticed. Maybe open and close doors or make things fall off, or, different things can happen, and they're trying to let you know they're there. Okay, well, one of the ways to help them is to study happy science teachings, because your thoughts can go to them. As you study the truth and understand more and more deeply the truth about the other world, your thoughts about the other world go to them, and they start to have awakening themselves. Oh, there really is another world. I really am dead. You can come to them and say, look, you really have passed away. Come with me. I'll take you back to the spirit world. And they say, thank you very much. I'll go with you. Because they've been able to believe. But they've been able to believe because of you. Because they trust you, right? They might not trust an outside angel, but they trust you. So if you can study the truth, you can teach them and help them on their way. So the fourth dimension, well, let's have a look at some people crossing. Well, actually, just before I go down here, the realm of instinctual love. Okay. One of the things we're going to discover today is that all these different dimensions have a different stage of love. And this fourth dimension is just instinctual love. But even animals have instinctual love. So as human beings, it's not something for us to aim for. I mean, in my temple back home, we had a birds created a wonderful nest outside. And I had the chance to watch them every day, from the laying the eggs and to the chicks hatching and the feeding them. And the amount of effort that these birds went through, just naturally, just instinctually. It was quite amazing. The father and the mother both took turns to feed the blackbirds, and but it was instinctual. Nobody had to teach them; they just did it. But this bottom of this fourth dimension is just a realm of instinctual love. Okay, so humans are way, way more advanced in instinctual love. People without spiritual knowledge are in this fourth dimension, and the river Styx and the life review. So when we first pass away and our soul leaves our body, we travel. The Master said it takes about 24 hours usually for your soul to leave your body. And we're going to see a little bit further in this one of the clips where we're connected by a silver cord. So our soul is actually connected to our body by a silver cord. So at night time, I don't know if any of you ever remember dreams. If you remember dreams, Master Okawa said often dreams are a visit to the spirit world. When we sleep, our soul leaves our body, goes back to the spirit world to receive spiritual nourishment from the sun. Okay, it needs to absorb spiritual light. If somebody wakes us, immediately we wake up. But the soul, because it's tied to our body via the silver cord, it immediately can come back to the body as soon as we're woken up. But if you remember your dreams, often it might be times of flying and things like that, beautiful colours. This is actually a trip into the astral realm, into the spirit world. But when we pass away, we've still got the silver cord initially, and when we leave. But there's an area in our subconscious that when we cross over, it can be like a river. It's not always like a river, but Master Okawa said it's often like a river. And it's known often in the past folk tales called the river Styx. And this river Styx, once we cross the river Styx, there's no coming back. Once you cross the river Styx, you've crossed the barrier of subconscious and there's no more entering your body. Sometimes we hear about people having near-death experience. What they've actually happened is their souls left their body. They might be actually about to die, but they can hear people and the thoughts of their loved ones calling them back. And they reach a point where they get a choice. They can either go back or carry on. If they carry on, they've passed away. If they come back, they suddenly might wake up in their body and have a remembrance about, oh, I remember leaving this world and seeing this and seeing that. So let's have a look at these people crossing the river Styx. And one of the things we'll notice is that when you see people crossing it, take a notice of the different ways that people cross the river. The way that you cross the river is very dependent on how you've lived your life in this world. If you live your life in this world with a lot of attachments, it's very hard to cross the river Styx. If you live your life in this world with not so many attachments and a lot of love in your heart, it's very easy. So you'll notice people crossing on bridges, people going across on boats, other people having difficulty. So depending on how you live will make the difference to how you cross the river Styx.
So is this the river Styx?
Oh, look! Help me!
Those were his attachments in life, the things he didn't want to let go. When you are crossing this river, You must leave behind all your mortal attachments.
What are those strings?
They are silver cords. They connect the physical body and the soul. Usually, approximately 24 hours after the heart stops, these cords are cut off. That's when humans really die.
It's so beautiful.
I wonder where it goes.
Those who've crossed the river Styx walk through this long path, through the flower bed, and finally reach this place.
Is this a movie theater? I wonder what it's showing.
It's showing a drama called life. His life from birth to death will be shown on this screen.
Who are they?
They're his deceased friends and relatives. Revealed on screen are not just what he did, but also what he thought of during his mortal life.
You mean even what he thought of?
Childhood, elementary school, middle school, high school, getting a job, getting married, changing jobs, divorce, bankruptcy.
You should have been more responsible.
Whatever he went through, and whatever thoughts he had on those occasions, they're all revealed here. After this, he understands and is willing to go to his destination.
Destination?
More than half of the people these days go to a place that is called Hell.
More than half? Really?
A lot of people don't believe in the spirit world anymore. They think there's nothing after death and thus live freely. But what awaits them here is a harsh reality. Of course, some of them receive a hail of applause. These people are allowed to go to heaven according to the state of their minds.
Heaven? That sounds good. Wow, heaven.
Do you want to go there?
Huh? To heaven?
The spirit world is all about thoughts. You go to a world that matches the state of your mind. Try and fill your hearts with benevolence.
Benevolence?
So then, do you mean the kind thoughts that one would have for others?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thoughts for others. Like friendship.
Yeah.
So, nice depiction, right? This is, and when he says like, over around about half the people in the world today go to hell, it's not, happy science teachings aren't like a teaching that if you go to hell, that's it forever, you go to hell. It's just, they die with a state of mind that's more attuned to that place. But when they go there, they must have said that actually, hell is like a hospital for damaged souls. So what happens is that because people haven't been self-reflecting, I was saying self-reflection is so important. If we self-reflect, we see mistaken ways of thinking, and we change ourselves, right? And then so by doing the self-reflection, by the time our life comes, we've already actually changed ourselves. But if people can't self-reflect, by going to a place where similar-minded people are, they see people thinking and being in a certain way, and they think, oh, that's really ugly. I don't like the way that these people are thinking. And eventually they go, oh, that's the same as me. So what people are seeing is a reflection of themselves, and then they can change. So, and when you change, you move out, you know. And also, nobody can be born into this world from a hell realm, because otherwise the hell realm would completely disappear. Everybody would be on earth, and earth would become hell. So to be born into a lady's womb, you have to have reached a certain stage in the heavenly world, in the fourth dimension. So you have to have an aspect of love about your soul before you can be born into the womb. So, yeah. The hell realm, though, is only a training ground, once again, to help people self-reflect and change themselves. You're not there forever. You know. So crossing with the river Styx, hopefully we can, if when you turn up to the heavenly world there's a bridge for you, that's good news. If there's a boat, that's good news as well. And but can you imagine in your life, you know, like when you get to the end and you get to watch your whole life review with you know, people who have got related souls watching your whole life? So knowing this means that you can actually, you know, ensure that you live your life now in a way that you'll be happy later. It's in a way, it's like a teaching. The teaching of self-reflection is like a teaching of salvation, really, because it means that we can live in a way that I'll be happy for others to see later. Okay, so the fifth dimension is the very next dimension from the fourth dimension, and when they put their hands together, they're about to visit there. So we're going to travel there too. But this new stage, as I said, each one has a different level of love. The realm of love in the fifth dimension is fundamental love, which just means that actually, as I said before, you just genuinely want happiness for other people. You live your life. If someone else smiles, you feel happy to see them smile. If someone's unhappy, you genuinely just would like to see them happy. Okay, it's still a basic stage of love, but if everybody on the earth was practicing fundamental love, which is like love thy neighbor and taught by Jesus in Christianity, this world would be like a heavenly world. Inhabitants, all of them are aware that they're spiritual beings. So like I said, in the fourth dimension, a lot of people still believe that they're actually not dead. The fifth dimension, everybody knows that they're actually a soul. Good-natured, harmonious people, and people feel happiness through gratitude. So we already feel that, and if we were more sensitive, we would feel it more strongly. But when you do something for somebody, if someone has genuine gratitude for you, their actual positive thoughts come to you and make you feel good. Well, in the heavenly world, it's really accentuated. So as soon as somebody feels gratitude, we'll see this in this clip, people actually start to get a little bit of a halo behind their head from the gratitude that other people are expressing for them. But Master says, in the fifth dimension, people still enjoy living similar to life on Earth. What you might be surprised in this next clip is to see people actually growing things in a garden. I mean, I don't know if there's any keen gardeners here. My mum back home, she's such a keen gardener. I can't imagine her thinking that heaven could ever be a place where you can't be in a garden. And in there, your thoughts, the quality of your thoughts and the quality of your love makes a difference to the quality of what grows. But you can still grow things. You don't have to eat in the fifth dimension because you don't have a physical body anymore. But sometimes we enjoy eating, right? I mean, we don't always eat just because we're hungry. Sometimes we eat because we enjoy it. We eat an apple, it's delicious. Same in the fifth dimension, you know what the experience is like. So people can actually grow apples and you can eat apples and enjoy it. It's obviously a different experience from here in our physical body, but people in the fifth dimension still carry on in many ways just like they do in this world. Even work. You know, you think when you get to the heavenly world, what are you going to do all day? Sit around, do nothing? You know, that humans don't like to do nothing. We like to do things. So even in the other world, we still find jobs that we like to do. And there's a huge variety of jobs. I mean, one job I know of, and I thought, you know, there's many people I know, I'll use my mum as an example again, but I can imagine her doing this job. There's a job whereby some people in the spirit world, when babies die young in this world, they're very confused. And there's some people in the other world who the whole job, they love kids so much that they just want to bring them up. And Master Okawa said actually souls that die young, when they get to the other world, it can take like 20 years equivalent for that soul to come back to being a fully grown soul in the other world. So they need some love and care. And so there's angels or people on the other side that like to do that. But all of us, whatever you really love to do, if you love music, you're probably involved in music on the other side. And you'll be studying music on one hand, and you'll be teaching others. There's always somebody higher than us, and there's always somebody lower than us, right? So we love to learn, at the same time we love to pass on what we've learned. So if you love art, you'll be involved in art. Whatever your interest is, that's what you'll be doing. So in the fifth dimension, let's have a look at these people that have moved through to the fifth dimension, and they take a little bit of a trip. Let's just see what's happening.
Oh, it feels so nice here. So, is this heaven?
This is the fifth dimension, realm of the good. It is a part of heaven.
Fifth dimension realm of the good?
Let's go over to that town.
It's gonna be a long walk.
Why don't we fly there? Come.
What? Do you mean us too?
The spirit world is all about thoughts. You can fly if you think of flying.
Look! Yuko's flying!
I know. You have to visualize you're flying.
Visualize. Okay.
Wow!
Well done for the first time. Hearts of the people in the fifth dimension, realm of the good, are filled with thoughts like gratitude toward what's given and the joy of doing things for others. There's the town.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's all because of your help.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
What's that light?
These people don't feel like asking for anything in return. But whenever their gratitude reaches someone, a warm light appears to show happiness.
We feel the same way on Earth, don't we?
You feel warm inside when you do something nice for others.
People who had a lot of those experiences will be able to come back to a beautiful world like this.
So is it surprising to see houses in the spirit world? One of the things, you know, as I studied the teachings was to realize how organized the other world is. But I realized I didn't understand how it would be, so I hadn't thought about it too much. But of course we want to live in houses, right? That's why we build houses here. And it's actually easier to build a house in the spirit world because everything's done with thought. See, in this world, we have the thought first, but then we have to somehow manifest a building. You know, we have to actually make these products and make the wood and make everything. But in another world, everything's done with thought. So actually, we can make things just with our thought. And of course, wouldn't, you know, what are we going to let all lie around on the streets? So actually, in the spirit world, we have our own communities and houses and places to live. I noticed some of those vegetables were pretty big. I don't know if they're that big. We'll soon find out when we go there, right? But so this is the fifth dimension, just a realm of good-natured people and a gratitude and people who are practicing just a fundamental love, the very starting point of the heavenly world. So next stage up is the sixth dimension, and we're going to have a break at about, what's the time now?
About 3 minutes to 12.
Okay, we'll go through one more and then we'll have a break in case anybody wants to. So the sixth dimension is also called the realm of light. It's actually an intellectual realm. So people who, here we say it's the stage of love here is nurturing love. So nurturing, like we've just been talking about fundamental love, which is just a love that gives, right? But nurturing love means that you make an effort to learn something whether it be in art, or it could be in music, or it could be in politics, or it could be in science, it could be anything. But you actually learn something through your intellectual ability that you can help others grow. Nurturing means helping others grow. And to help others grow means you need to have actually gained something yourself first. And to do that, you've usually had to make the effort to learn something to pass on to others. So just as, you know, you could love your plants, but to nurture them takes a little bit more. Right? You need to know how much water they need and how much nutrients they need. So nurturing love requires actually an element of knowing the difference between right and wrong, you know, good and evil. I remember at school I had a teacher, Mrs. Horton. She was very strict, and at the time I didn't think too much of her. I didn't like her very much because she was really strict with me. But I wasn't the best student, and I look back now and I'm really grateful to her because her strictness was just trying to guide me. She was practicing nurturing love, you know. So nurturing love is a love that helps people go in the right direction. And so it's not always just that kind, lovely love. It sometimes needs a little bit of a strictness about it. So teachers are a good example of people who can practice nurturing love. Well, Master Okawa said that this realm of light or divine spirits is a realm where many of these spirits actually, in the higher part of the sixth dimension, have been known in some various religions and places as sort of gods, but they're more minor gods, not gods with a capital G, but more like a small g. These souls are defined by their knowledge of truth, so the more you understand about the truth, the more your soul will be able to rise up through the different parts of the sixth dimension, because even though we're talking about different dimensions, even within each dimension, it's got different stages, right? So, you know, it's not you don't just go from sixth to seventh or something, you've actually got different stages within the sixth dimension to go from the top to the bottom. He said all souls in the sixth dimension are very strongly aware of the Creator. They're aware of this great light, this great energy that is the source of the light for everybody. So everybody knows about a God or Buddha in the sixth dimension, and that they use their abilities to guide and nurture others. So let's watch these guys enter into the sixth dimension. This shows nicely about the sort of mindset that's required to go into the sixth dimension. We'll watch these guys and then we'll have a bit of a stretch and a bit of a break in case somebody wants to go.
What's this?
This is the door to the sixth dimension.
Hello? Is anybody there?
How do we get in?
It is all about your dreams and about your ideals. That's the key to entering this building.
Dreams and ideals.
You should all ask yourselves what is in your heart.
My dream, is to go to college through a referral from the school principal and be asked to join an international company where I get to be the chief researcher. And then I marry my beloved Eliza and have 5 kids.
A dream is not a desire. It is more of an aspiration. What is it that you are all making efforts for?
I wonder.
It seems like you've all passed. I can see that you are all quite advanced souls.
Where are we?
In the sixth dimension, realm of light.
Hey, let's go there.
Yeah. Roberto?
magic!
Where am I?
This is a device which detects abnormality in the astral body before it appears in the physical body. In other words, it's an illness sensor. It detects illness before one gets ill. It's far from complete, though.
Wow, just think of how many lives could be saved if we had this device on Earth. This is exactly the sort of thing I wanted to make. Something that would help people.
That's why you were born, weren't you?
What?
When completed, this will generate all household electricity. And of course, it's perfectly clean energy.
This is it! This is what I always wanted to do! You guys are geniuses!
But Roberto, you were actually here researching with us too.
Oh. So I was!
Those who live in the sixth dimension light realm have advanced and become experts in their respective fields. For example, politics, economy, science, education, art, religion. Leaders in their respective fields who made memorable achievement return to this world in order to pursue their studies even further. They are individuals with very different characters, but all of them have one common enlightenment. That is, they all know that a divine light exists, which allows humans and spirits to live.
A divine light?
People call this divine light Eternal Buddha, or God, or the truth according to their perception. But they all know that this light is the source of an absolute power and is the law that presides over this world.
So, the sixth dimension. And Master Okawa said actually any one of us in the world today, because we can get a deep understanding of the truth, can actually enter into the sixth dimension. So he said actually he wants to teach people to enter the next realm, which is what we're going to cover after our break. But the seventh dimension, the realm of the angels, you know, he said, I want to be an angel maker. Well, you know, that's really encouraging. I think we've got everybody still here. So there was the opportunity to do a runner. So everyone's here. Thank you very much. You know if it's going okay, if everyone turns up again. Thanks very much. So, and also, is the lighting okay like this? We can close those curtains, but is everybody okay? You can see clearly? Okay, great. So now we've moved up to the seventh dimension, right? The seventh dimension is the realm of angels. And often we think of angels as being something far away and something maybe so far from us. But we are, as human beings, right? We have the nature of God or nature of Buddha in us. We are actually all destined to be angels. Everybody is destined to be an angel. But depending on how you walk your path to being an angel, you might want to walk this way, right? No one's going to, you can walk and take as long as you like. But our path, just like a seed has in it, like an acorn has in it the potential to become a great acorn tree, you know, oak tree, acorn tree, a great oak tree. The seed of an acorn become an oak tree. We ourselves are on this path towards becoming angels and beyond. And we have a strong desire. We have a strong desire to become like that. Just as an acorn tree just naturally grows into an oak tree and continues to grow. Why does it grow? It's just given this, it's its nature. And it is our nature to become closer and closer to God or Buddha. We want to become more and more like God or Buddha. And because each one of us are part of the same essence, part of this becoming like God or Buddha is it's an embracing love, right? To become one with everything. Love just means one with everything. And we want to be, once upon a time, a long, long, long time ago in the very beginning, before the Big Bang and everything, we were one. Everything was one. And then it separated into all these individual consciousnesses. So we actually, in our heart, we still know deep, deep down that we're all one. And we want to be one again. So, but we can be one even while we're separated. So we can be separate and one at the same time. We have that ability in our hearts. So even while we're individuals, we can still connect and all become one. And the sense of oneness brings us a great sense of happiness. That's where our true happiness comes from. And these developmental stages of love are all about us actually becoming more and more one with everybody and everything. So the seventh dimension, the realm of the angels, the stage here, as Master said, is forgiving love. So forgiving love, actually, it is obviously forgiving, but the reason that we can forgive is that we recognize that everybody is just on this path of spiritual training. Everybody is walking the path, and some people are at this stage and some people are at this stage. But if we understand the truth that everybody has divine nature, but not everybody is exhibiting their divine nature, we realize that if they are living a wrong way and causing problems, it's just because they're mistaken. So we don't, just as young Amy, she can make mistakes, but you don't hate her for it. It's because she's a young child. Well, in God's eyes, we're all young children. So if we can try to see things from God's point of view, we can easily recognize that those people who might be a murderer or somebody who we want to feel like we want to hate because they're somebody who's caused trouble, we can recognize that they just haven't learned the truth yet. They don't know their spiritual nature. For whatever reason in their life, they're living in a way that's away from the true way. And we can forgive them. Okay, so forgiveness means to actually be able to see people's divine nature. Not see them from their mistaken nature, but recognize their divine nature and love them for that. So now we're going to take a trip and have a look at the, actually we're going to have a look at, I think, at the gates at the beginning of the seventh dimension. Oh yes, I love this part. This has got a wonderful part where they're standing outside the gate, and it's the most ginormous gate you've ever seen. And he says, this is the narrow gate. And I mean, it's huge, you know. How can it be the narrow gate? But it's the narrow gate because not so many people can walk through. But what's really nice here is that all four of them go in and they're given a task. And this is so subtle but so well done. You can recognize that even though all four of them do the same task, you can recognize the difference between why two of them have the mind of an angel and two of them don't. And yet they're both doing the same task. I think this is a very powerful little piece here. Let's have a look.
This is the narrow gate, or so it is called.
Why? I mean, the gate looks big enough to me.
So it may seem, but in reality, not that many can go through it. Behind this gate is the seventh dimension, Bodhisattva realm. However, only those who possess the prerequisites of an angel can reach that stage.
Prerequisites of an angel?
Actually, from now on, you will all be given a task to accomplish. Each one of you will have to heal and cure 10 ill people.
That's the test to joining the angels. Well, isn't that right?
I'm good at taking care of people, 'cause I've always been looking after my grandfather.
Let's do it.
Helen Keller and Florence Nightingale. Shortly we're about to see Mother Teresa, another angel. But what she just said was really important, was that when we are born into this world, we forget all of our memories of a past. And you think, well, why would I forget all of my past? But actually, it's quite logical to why it's actually an act of compassion for us to forget our past. Because on the one hand, you know, so say you were Michelangelo, right, in your last life, and you painted the great paintings in the Sistine Chapel, and you did such great artwork, and you could remember that in this life. To be able to at least equal what you did in your last life, you've got a huge hurdle to get before you even get to equal to what you did in your last life. So if you had great success in your last life, you'd always have that hanging over you, a great expectation on yourself to need to accomplish so much. And on the other hand, you know, what if we went to a war in our last life and we ended up killing somebody, or even if some accident happened and we hurt somebody badly in a traffic accident, and we keep remembering that, then we would have that hanging over us as well. So when we are born, we start from scratch. The day it's like a zero from the counter, right? So we get a chance to live our life without our past life memories hindering us. We do actually come into life with karma, though, you know. So our karma is always carried over from previous lives. So Master Okawa said karma is something like karma. Another word for karma is like tendency of the soul. So we have tendencies of the soul that have been built up, which means that under certain circumstances we will act in a certain way. If a person has the mind of an angel, they will have a tendency to act like an angel. That's their karma, that's the point they've reached. So everybody has certain karmic tendencies, and those things come with us from life to life. So Master Okawa said, actually, you know, a way to live a happy life is that even if negative things are happening to you in your life now, be willing to confront that as your karma that might be coming from something that's happened in the past. But if you're willing to just have courage and fight your karma, but at the same time keep planting positive seeds today, right? Accept whatever comes with your life, into your life, with a positive attitude, and realize this is karma coming from something that might have happened in the past. Accept it with a positive attitude and just keep planting positive seeds now. Your future will be positive because of the seeds you plant now. Eventually that karma will run its course. Okay? Nothing lasts forever. Eventually any karma will run its course. So if you're having troubles and difficulties, stay positive. Be determined to learn the lessons that are in it and just keep planting positive seeds. Don't allow yourself to start planting negative seeds because of negative things, because that will create more trouble in the future. So this is the angels' realm. Now let's have a look at, there's a little talk now about what do angels do, not just in the heavenly world, but in this world as well. So the next clip here shows the work of angels in this world and in the spirit world.
How have you been, Yuko?
What?
I'm Helen Keller.
You mean the Helen Keller who fought deafness and blindness?
Are you uncomfortable seeing a talkative Helen who can see and hear, Yuko?
No.
That was all planned before I was born. Angels sometimes do things like that. Yuko, you and I have always been friends, you know.
Friends?
Honorable Ms. Nightingale.
Florence Nightingale? The Crimean Angel?
It's been a long time, Yuko.
How come you know me?
It's no wonder you're surprised. When humans are born on Earth, they leave behind and forget all their memories of the spirit world. The stage you're in, here in this spirit world, is the 7th dimension Bodhisattva realm, the Angel's realm.
Angels of different religions gather here. Religions are always fighting on Earth.
Yuko, do you know about reincarnation?
Yes.
Humans reincarnate over and over again, and in doing so live in different times and in different places. The country you're fighting against through war or terrorism may once have been your beloved homeland. The enemy you hate could be a reincarnation of a person who once was your friend or your family. Yuko, that's the truth, you know?
If everyone knew this, there'd be no conflicts, and there'd be no more wars.
That is the reason why angels are working so hard. To spread the truth to all humankind.
I'm gonna show you the kind of work that the angels are doing.
Actually, you've already died.
You're lying! Look at me. Can't you see that I'm alive?
Okay, now just let me take your pulse. You don't have a pulse. You know what that means.
A lot of people on Earth panic when they pass away and become a spirit. Some don't believe their death and cling on to the place they died or their families and cause a lot of trouble. It is also the work of angels to convince those people. They also guide different people who do great work in various occupations. There are many angels who are born on Earth, and they work hard too.
I didn't know that angels were making so much effort.
And yet there are many souls we cannot save, and they end up in hell.
Mother Teresa.
Angels even go to hell, you know, in order to save those spirits.
What are you doing?
It's okay. Calm down now.
Why do angels go that far?
Because they can't help but to save them.
That is their utmost joy. Angels do not wish for anything in return. They shine from the happiness of giving love as God's errand. That's all they need. That is the ultimate happiness for them, more than anything else.
Happiness?
All of us constantly feel the intense hope of the divine that wishes to make this world a utopia. This intense, passionate thought is sent to every single person and every single being. We can feel this sense of love deeply and know it by heart. That's why we can never stop ourselves from loving others. We ourselves must strive to become the force of love, or the wind of love that blows throughout the entire world. This, Yuko, is the true meaning of finding happiness.
I want to attain happiness too.
So actually, Master Okawa said we can appear, our thoughts determine, we can actually show ourselves to people how we want. So, but we generally spend our time looking whatever age we feel comfortable with. So, you know, he said a lot of people maybe in their 30s or 40s was the age that they like to show themselves as. But you can show yourself to whatever age. So she showed herself as Mother Teresa so she could be recognized. And the other thing that was important here is that when you saw them, said they saved souls in the hell, did you see when this one soul was taken upwards and all their features changed? Well, Master Okawa said that, you know, when a person goes to the hell realm, they actually lose their divine nature. They've lost their true self. And their thoughts manifest their appearance. You know how in old movies and things you see pictures of the devil with the horns and everything? Well, this is a manifestation of their mind. So we look the same as what our mind is. So when that soul was actually taken up and saved, they regained their true mind and they regained their true look as a human being. So we actually do manifest a look that represents the state of our mind in the other world. So this has been a visit through the seventh dimension. And one of the dimensions that we spoke about earlier on was the hell realm. So we've got to have a look at the hell realm. You know, so we're actually going to visit hell now. And hell is, just as in the other world, there's many different places in the hell realm also is dependent on the state of the mind. So there's like a realm of, we all know that in the world there's some greedy-minded people, right? There's a realm of hell which has people with greedy minds. Some people have violent minds, so there's a realm of hell for a violent mind. So the different states of the mind also creates different realms in the hell world. So we're actually going to do a little bit of a trip down now and have a look at the different stages that exist, or different places that exist in the hell realm. Sorry, and one interesting thing about this is it's very well done, I believe, in showing how easy. Remember, these guys are standing outside the gates to the seventh dimension. They're already a high place up in heaven. This shows how easy it is to create a negative mindset that can connect us to the hell realm, right? We all do what we're about to witness here at some stage in our lives.
Ruta and Yuko went through to the Angel's realm.
But we failed, right, Patrick?
What is so funny about that? You don't remember we were a team, do you? How come it's only Ruta and Yuko that get to go through and we can't? Don't get me wrong, it's not that I really want to go to the Angel's realm, but it just annoys me that those two are so special and we're not.
That's true. Why is it only them two? We went through all that trouble, and now we can't even meet Edison.
Yeah, and without my sensors, there was no way they could have gotten that phone to work in the first place.
Hey, you're right. This is unfair.
Perhaps God isn't fair after all.
Yeah. Where are we?
Could this be hell?
Oh, why? It's just not fair.
Can I help you? Who are you?
A lot of people get lost around here, just like you did. I guess you could say my job is to help get them back on track.
We're saved!
We just want to get back to our own world, okay?
Don't worry yourselves. Just follow me.
So, but that just shows how the state of your mind makes a difference, where you connect yourself. You know, you can't be in the heavenly world if your mind's connected to the hell. So grumbling and complaints and that sort of negative thinking is not a heavenly thought. So, but just in the same, the positive side is that if people are in the hell realm, when we teach them to have a positive way of thinking, they can't stay in hell anymore either. Everything's about your thought. So this was actually just a part of that. The next part is where we actually visit the different dimensions in the hell realm. Okay, actually this is... So just before we visit these different dimensions, we've already discussed a lot of this. It's the love that takes. It's making negative conceptual energy. The heavenly world is full of positive energy, positive, bright conceptual energy. As I said before, it's a hospital for unhealthy souls. So in Happy Science, we don't think of hell as a place of punishment. You know, it's not, you're not sent there to, as a, right, you've been bad, I'm sending you to hell. It's a natural consequence of your thoughts. So if it's a natural consequence, it's to tell you, oh, your thinking is not in line with the mind of God. So it's, therefore, I just need to change myself. I need to, and by seeing other people with a similar way, it helps us to reflect and change. All of us, have, through all of our past incarnations, all of us have been to hell at some time, right? So, I mean, I can't imagine anybody could ever get through all these incarnations that we've had without ever visiting there some stage. Souls are made to reflect themselves, and as I said before, souls cannot be born onto earth from hell.
This is the part of hell called the Hell of Strife. It is the world where those who had hearts full of anger and conflict, or who hurt people through physical or verbal violence, come to. It is a world of confrontation and destruction.
You're worthless.
It is the hell of the inescapable pit. This is where those who envied happy or successful people and tried to drag them down, or those who strenuously pursued the rat race, finally come down to. This here is the hell of the bloody pond. It is where debauched people who lived obsessed with opposite sexes come to. They stay here until they realize their utterly disgusting state and wish to live like a human being. All of these people used to look normal and lived normal lives. After death, when the spirits left their bodies, the thoughts in their mind appeared grotesquely bloated 100-fold, as you can see. Like attracts like. These kindred spirits gathered here and create this abyss.
If they're the ones that created this, and they're trapped in this abyss, then how can they get out of here?
They have no choice but to repent and gain back the true essence of being human.
The true essence of a human?
It is love that gives.
Love that gives?
It is a heart that gives without expecting any return. Those who forgot to give love to others and instead spend their lives taking from them come here to hell. However, demons live deep down. Among these demons, some were formerly angels.
Really?
They were born on Earth as humans, but may have taken wrong turns and ended up turning greedy or spreading wrong ideas. Everyone has the possibility to fall this way.
Yeah, so we never stop talking about the importance of the mind in Happy Science. And as he said there, when we get back to the spirit world, our actual thoughts, everything becomes magnified like 100 times. So if you spend your time in this life with your spiritual training creating a beautiful mind, that beautiful mind becomes magnified like 100 times, right? So that's the positive side of it. Of course, the negative side, if we create a negative state of mind, then it becomes bloated 100 times as well. So while we're in these bodies, you know, we can't actually tell so much about what's happening with our mind, but once we get back to the spirit world, we exactly get to witness what state of mind that we've created. But each one of us is the one that's responsible for our own mind. Nobody can tell us what to think. Right? Nobody has got responsibility for your mind but yourself. You know, each one of us, we can be king of our own mind. You know, that's the goal. The kingdom of our mind is ours. No matter even how demanding somebody tells us how to think in some way, they cannot make us think a certain way. You know, even if we're living in a country like China where they've got a dictator telling us how to think, we can pretend to think that way, but it's up to us. We think how we think. Okay, and this came back to this idea of the law of the same wavelength attraction. It's a very important law because you create a mind of an angel, you'll be living with the angels. You create a mind of a negative spirit, you'll be living with the negative spirits. It's very simple, right? It's not difficult. So this law of same wavelength attraction is a very important law, and it's one that we can use to our advantage by creating beautiful minds. Okay, let's take a step up to the 8th dimension. Now, the 8th dimension is a very, very high evolved realm where when Master Okawa was given examples of souls from the 8th dimension, people like Lincoln, people like Gandhi, people like Nostradamus, the archangels. He said the archangels from Christianity are all from the 8th dimension. And we call it Tathagata as a Buddhist term, but archangels also in Christianity. Here we call it, it's the realm of existence as love. And in this realm, Master Okawa said, people don't take on human form anymore. They just become balls of light. Okay, so we're just a ball of light in this realm. But if you want to manifest as in the shape of a human, you can, because you've got control, of course. But the great leaders, many of the great leaders who have come to the earth, great musicians also, and people like who we're going to witness, actually Edison, Einstein, these people are from the 8th dimension. As it says here, no longer take human form. And here's some other examples. Socrates, Plato, Lincoln, Einstein, Gandhi, Martin Luther King, and Thomas Edison. They come from the heavenly world with the mission of bringing some sort of teaching or invention or something to this world to help guide us in the right direction. Do you remember earlier on we watched these guys in the 6th dimension, and in their hearts they had the desire to make these tools. There was one that was a illness detector, where you could put people in this machine and do an astral reading and detect illness before it happens. And he said, oh yeah, I always wanted to do that. Well, we believe that in the heavenly world before we're born here, we actually have a great aspirations and plans of what we can do to bring about improvement in this world. So things actually, inventions that come to this world are actually often thought of in the other world first, and then the spirits come to this world. So if you can learn to be able to, through meditation, calm your mind and receive the inspiration from high spirits, you can really bring ideas into this world that are coming from the other world. So these are some of the examples from the 8th dimension. So we're going to do a little trip and visit the 8th dimension and actually see Edison. Probably everybody knows of Edison, and Edison's just going to give a little talk about his reincarnations. Because as I was saying about reincarnation before, all of these great souls reincarnate as well. And from this we can discover some of the past lives about Edison and realize he's always had a tendency to be an inventor. Okay? We have a tendency of the soul. So our souls, if you say you were a great musician in this life, the chances are when you get back to the spirit world, you'll carry on with your musical studies because that's what you love. And then when you're reborn, you'll probably be a great musician again. So we have tendencies that we carry with us continuously. And Edison in the spirit world is a great inventor. He's known as one of the great inventors in the spirit world. So we can discover some of his past lives here as well.
Yes, sir.
I actually wanted to talk on the subject of science with you. Tell me, do you know the history of my reincarnations?
Oh, you mean past lives?
You don't know much about reincarnations. You need to do better than that. Humans continue to reincarnate and do different kinds of work, but they tend to take up similar occupations. This is a collection of my inventions. Lately, I was born as Edison, and I think I invented the lamp, the gramophone, and motion pictures. But before that, I actually invented the typographic printing in Germany.
You mean Gutenberg?
And before that, I was born in China by the name of Tsai Lun, where I invented paper to print writings. The invention of paper led to reproduction of the Buddhist sutras, and printing technology contributed to spreading Bibles. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you?
Huh?
What I'm talking about here is the essence of science. I think science is in fact convenience, a power that promotes and develops civilization, and that allows humans to gain all sorts of new and different experiences.
New experiences?
Through the joy we feel when gaining new experiences, we find spiritual progress. I feel that is the purpose of humans being born on Earth. However, when we forget about the real essence of science and start to pursue only convenience, that is where we start getting into trouble.
So, you know, looking at Edison's past lives, you can see a tendency, right? He wants to help bring about the progress of Earth. So if he can be born and create paper, which Buddhist sutras can be written onto and be passed on, and then be born later and come up with the invention for printing equipment, which enabled Bibles to be printed, you can see how his work in the scientific field can help religious work in spreading truth. So, of course, we get to use for all these other uses as well, you know, and not always good, you know, but his inventions always lead to the purpose behind his inventions was to help create an ideal world. So these are Edison's inventions. Now we're going to carry on up and into the, now we're actually going to visit the eighth dimension, and you'll recognize obviously the next great spirit on the eighth dimension.
You must be the great scientist I respect.
Why is it that you think so? Is it the way I look? This is only because I'm showing myself like that. In this world, we don't have to bear our mortal appearance anymore. You could say I'm a luminous substance who excels in physics. In the 8th dimension, Tathagata realm, although there are around 500 beings similar to me, it is impossible to count us on the basis of mortal numbers. And that is because I am able to break up into infinite numbers. One is all, and all is one. This is the enlightenment of the 8th dimension Tathagata realm. We don't measure things the way you do. Even time cannot be used as a measuring tool either. Over here in the spirit world, we do not have a set of time, since this is a world in which past, present, and future are all found to be one.
The past, present, and future are one?
In simple terms, see, in this sphere swim 3 goldfish, called past, present, and future. The 3 flow rotating inside this sphere. Should I focus my mind to the past, I can go there. Or to the future, if I pin it there. Do you see what I mean? Based on this theory, I am now thinking of being born in the 30th century, and then trying to create a time machine. Do you understand? It all depends on what you consider the truth. The earthly world is transient, and the spirit world is the real world. But even this spirit world is also transient. Every single existing state is actually a reflection of the eternal Buddha's mind.
Eternal Buddha's mind?
Yes, without eternal Buddha's mind, the universe and the spirit world would simply vanish. Yet, the world remains as firm as ever. Isn't that fascinating?
Why did Eternal Buddha create this world?
The reason why Eternal Buddha created this world. That,
I bet you're hoping for that answer, right? So, you know, when you see them being able to split up, right? Talk about true multitasking. So, you know, a spirit in the 8th dimension can, because it's just now a great source of consciousness, can actually split itself into many of itself. And each one can go off and do its task and then come back together again. And his idea that in the year 3000, that his intention, Edison's intention, is to build a time machine. So what's interesting about that is, okay, if he builds a time machine in the year 3000, he can travel back in time. He could turn up here any day, right? Coming from the future. So everything changes. It's, you know, we're not going to talk about that today because that's way out there when you start thinking about how someone from 3,000 years ago can turn up here today. But so this is the 8th dimension. So as you can see, each level, and at the beginning when you saw it, Master Okawa said actually, as you move up to the dimensions, like the 8th dimension, it appears everything's made of crystal. And it's just so beautiful and so bright. So the light increases, the brightness increases, and the beauty increases. Okay, well, I have to keep things moving along because it's 1 o'clock and I want to allow time for some questions and answers. So the 9th dimension, which is the ultimate realm of human consciousness, which Master Okawa said that in the 9th dimension, well, we just heard Edison say there's like about 500 souls, if you can count them, around about 500 souls in the 8th dimension. But he said it's hard to count because they can be split into many. So, but for that term, I guess he's talking about if they actually came back to their original energy, there's about 500. In the 9th dimension, Master Okawa said there's actually 10 great beings that reside in the 9th dimension that have been overseeing the development of the earth. And this is the realm of the saviors. Master Okawa said here the stage of love is God's love. They're the founders of the world religions. And these 10 great beings include Jesus, Moses, Confucius, Newton, and Buddha. And Master Okawa said at the very top is this consciousness called El Kantari, who Jesus called Father. And as I said before, El means light, Kantari means the earth. I've had Spanish people tell me that El Kantari means song, or to sing, which is like a vibration. So, so we're going to take a journey into the 9th dimension, and we will see as we go up, they travel to one part where they see the spirits of like Moses and Jesus. And Master said, in the 9th dimension, these great beings of Jesus and Moses and Confucius actually embody, when he looks at them, the different colors of light. So he sees Jesus as the white light, and the white light is that of love and salvation. And he said when he sees Moses, Moses is the red light, and the red light is that of justice, it's of leadership, it's of miracles, and it's also there to defeat evil. When he looks at the purple light, he sees Confucius, and he said the teachings of Confucius are based on reverence and order. So each one, for instance, Socrates, he's from the 8th dimension, but he really concentrates on the blue light, and the blue light is that of philosophy and thought and reason. So the different religions that have been founded are often founded on different aspects of God's light. I mean, we know God's light, when light's put through a prism, it can be broken down to 7 colors. So those 7 colors in the heavenly world, in this 9th dimension, are the embodiment of these great spirits who embody that color and also that aspect of God. So on the way up, we'll stop and we'll visit that part where he gets to see these different beings embodying that light. But then he says, is this the source of all religion and all teachings? And then they start moving up, and they actually get up to the very top, the El Kantari consciousness, who Jesus referred to as Father. So let's watch this.
The greatest scientist on Earth would actually be none other than Thoth.
Thoth?
around 12,000 years ago in Atlantis. He was called the Omniscient and Omnipotent. Under the great guru Thoth, scientific technology and spiritual philosophy were integrated, and the Atlantis civilization enjoyed the greatest of prosperity. Once every few thousand years, that soul is born on the surface of the earth.
What?
For example, La Mu of the Mu Empire. Rient Al Crowd, the king of the ancient Inca civilization. Ophelis, who built the prosperity of Greece. And then Hermes. Also, Buddha of India. This soul always appears on Earth whenever civilization encounters a large turning point. This spiritual energy is summed as the Lord of the Gods, and is called El Cantare.
Lord El Cantare?
Yes, its existence was even unknown here in this heavenly world. It was hidden under a mystical veil for such a long time. He's from the holiest of spiritual worlds, the 9th dimension cosmic realm.
The 9th dimension cosmic realm?
It is eternally far behind veils. Yet that is where the future of all humankind belongs.
Yuko? Yuko.
Ryuta.
We're in the 9th dimension. Jesus Christ. Confucius. Newton. And...
Is this then the source of all world religions and ideologies?
Lord El Cantare?
this world. The light actually, we're not going to cover this in this seminar, but the light actually comes to the 9th dimension from the 10th. So light travels from the higher dimensions down through. And this consciousness called Alcantari was created in order with the mission of looking after this world. You really want that balloon, don't you? Just one moment. Let's see. Try if you can reach. Can you reach? Okay. Okay. So, so these, with an understanding of, this as a being a God, we can, if humans on Earth can understand that the God that we've all been talking about, doesn't matter whether you're Christianity or Buddhism or Islam, recognize that we're all talking about the same great consciousness that's giving the light to this earth with the mission of creating an ideal world. We can love each other without creating the conflicts between ourselves because of the differences in religion. And that's one of the real key things about Happy Science, is aiming to show and teach people there's differences in religion because of the way that they were taught by different people at different times. But there's always a reason for the difference. For instance, in Islam, you're allowed 4 wives, okay? But in Christianity, you're allowed 1 wife. And so Christians will say, that it's a teaching of the devil to say you're allowed 4 wives. But as Master Okawa said, there was a reason. Like at that time in Islam, there was a lot of wars and a lot of men were being killed. So there was a lot of women and not so many men. And it was a sort of form of social security, because you could allow 1 man to have 4 wives, because then these ladies will be looked after, right? So it's actually for the people and the time and the place, that was the best way. So there's always a reason behind things. We should concentrate on the important things in the teachings and forget about the small differences between the religions. So this was a visit to the 9th dimension, and you would have seen him putting the light on the different countries. Now, Master Okawa teaches at different times, souls deliberately descend into different countries to bring about their great upliftment. So like we had England, right? There was a time that England covered, the 2/3 of the world was being covered by the British Empire. Americans has been really a country that's really, in the world lately, has been a dominating country. But we seem to be seeing America's influence declining. Master Okawa said throughout time, there's a time in Greece, for instance. Well, at this time, great beings incarnate into the world, into specific places, to bring about a great change or upliftment in the civilization. So he predicts that actually, he came to Australia, he's coming again in October this year, but he came to Australia in 2009, and in his lecture in Australia, he predicted that next century, Australia will lead the world. So Australia in the next century will become a country that actually leads the world. And he said, I want to give you teachings to set a foundation now so Australia can lead the world later. But between now and then, he said actually we are going to enter the age of Asia, and then that'll be Japan, China and India, and then it will move to Brazil, South America, and also Africa will start to shine, and then next century will be Australia's turn. And you think, oh, next century I'll be dead, but hey, maybe you chose to reincarnate back and be part of that, in 150, 200 years' time. It might be short compared to a normal reincarnation, but if there's a lot happening, a lot going on, you might choose to come back. So everything has a deep purpose, and while we're all aiming to refine ourselves, right, it's a dual purpose. One, we're trying to refine ourselves, but at the same time, we're also aiming to create the ideal world. We have a twofold mission, ourselves plus helping create an ideal world. I've spoken already about Alcantari. I think everybody today has an understanding about who Alcantari is. It's the great consciousness that's referred to as God in the past, or Allah. And you might have noticed that he mentioned about the Buddha consciousness. I heard Ben talking before about Buddhism, and some people think that Buddhism's not a religion because Buddha didn't ever talk about God. It's actually, by understanding this, it becomes quite clear, because Jesus said, our Father in heaven. Of course, Moses spoke to the burning bush, said, I am that I am. So all of them received something from above. But Buddha didn't ever really talk about God as such. And through this, we can understand that actually Buddha was actually an incarnation that came from this consciousness. He is a part of the Alcantari consciousness himself. So when he came, he actually just gave teachings that were coming directly from his heart or directly coming from Alcantari. Jesus did too, but he was receiving them from Alcantari and said, hey, when I speak, our Father speaks through me. So Buddha was doing the same thing, but he was actually the same consciousness that Jesus was referring to. We've already spoken about the dimensions of the spirit world, so we don't need to go through there. And here's just a summary of today. You know, this world's a training ground for the soul. The more we can believe that, then all those problems and difficulties in life aren't problems and difficulties anymore. They're actually the weights that you're lifting in your soul training, right? And when you get strong and you start to move ahead, just as you do when you're training weights, right? You put more weight on the end. So when life gets tougher, it probably means that you've gone up a level, and the God or the high spirits have decided, oh, you can carry more now. So you've actually been given some extra weight. So you can actually be grateful that you must be evolving when some bigger stuff comes along for you to solve. The real world has many different dimensions, and these different dimensions represent different stages of love. So we are on this eternal path through these different dimensions. Right? Just enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey. You know, this is our soul training. But just as, you know, if you go bushwalking in the bush, it's not so much the destination. It's the joy is in the walk, right? You don't want to suddenly get there. It's the walk that's fun. So just enjoy this journey, this eternal journey through life, knowing that you have got this eternal progress, eternal soul training, and just enjoy it every day. And like wavelengths of track, so like wavelengths of track in the world you go to after death responds to your mind. So by every day making the effort to create your mind more beautiful, more harmonious, more full of love, get rid of all the negative side and promote the positive side, two things will happen. One, in this life becomes better and better. You become happier and happier in this life. Second thing that happens, when you leave this world, you find yourself in a beautiful realm. So you can be happy today and happy when you die. And this is true happiness. True happiness means being able to find happiness now, but you can take this happiness with you when you go to the other world. By putting love into practice, you can enter the higher realms, and eternal progress means eternal happiness for human beings. So just enjoy every day, making the effort to refine yourself. Just find a little joy in that. You know? There's a saying in Buddhism, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. So today, you've become enlightened. That enlightened just means you know absolutely the meaning and purpose of life. That's your enlightenment today, right? You're still going to have to go to work tomorrow. You're still going to have to do all the stuff you did. But the difference is, if you can think, all my mission is all the time is keeping a sentry on my mind, keeping my mind pointed towards there, towards heaven right now, and if it starts to sway, bring it back up again. Always just keep pointing it towards heaven. That's my mission in life. And no matter what comes towards me, no what challenges are put in front of me, I'm going to keep my mind pointed there and enjoy doing it. Then you can actually, this is the before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. You're still going about your daily business every day, but you've got the enlightenment of knowing why you're here and what you're doing. And your soul training is this. Okay. So I suggest, you know, obviously right faith means to believe in what we've been talking about today, to have an aspiration for enlightenment, which means to constantly try to move your mind closer and closer towards the mind of God. We have here, if anybody wants to receive it, you're most welcome. We have a form here which just says, you know, will you quest for the right mind, practice love that gives. Anybody's welcome to receive this prayer book. I know a few people already have. Master Okawa said that these words that were given to him, see, as I said, he's published over 900 books. He said these words came to him not through his mind, but he sat down and these words flowed from heaven, from the Shakyamuni Buddha consciousness directly into these words, into this book. He said of the 900 books he's written, the essential message is contained within this prayer book. And he suggested that these sutras or prayers have like 1,000 times the power of old traditional Buddhist sutras that are 2,500 years old now, that were often written in Sanskrit, and actually weren't even written by the Buddha. They were written by disciples of the Buddha. So anybody's welcome to receive one of these. And we would just suggest to recite this every morning, because you know at the beginning I said it's very hard to keep focused on the spiritual. It's very easy to be caught up in the material world again. We need a way to remind ourselves every day. It's like a conditioning of the mind. It's almost like we brainwash ourselves, you know, to remind ourselves, what am I doing here? Oh, that's right, I'm a spiritual being. Life's about soul training. This book reminds us this. So if you're able to recite this in the morning before you start your day, it means you start your day with a memory of what you're doing in life. What's the purpose of life? And the last point here is practice the principles of happiness. Well, I'm sure that Ben will be happy and Hiroshi will be happy to do a seminar at some stage to teach the principles of happiness, because in Happy Science, Master Okawa gave us a fourfold path, which is, he said, the way to true happiness. And as we just mentioned a minute ago, true happiness means to be happy now, but you can take it with you. And these 4 principles are love, wisdom, self-reflection, and progress. That's a whole nother seminar, right? But these principles of love, wisdom, self-reflection, and progress, if you put them into your daily life, you can definitely attain happiness in your life, and you'll definitely be able to take that happiness with you to the other world. So all I can say is thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed your journey through the 9 dimensions. Thank you all so much. But any questions? That's something I should ask.
So you're suggesting there's not a destination, like it's just continual process orientated?
Exactly. We're on an eternal journey. There is no end to this enlightenment, because if there was a destination and it all finishes, it's like, well, you know, what now? But no matter how enlightened we become, you can always become more enlightened. You can always become more enlightened. I actually believe that even God is progressing. I mean, God is everything. This is my own thought. This is Master Okawa's thought. But I think that all of us are part of God, and all through all this experience, like there's never-ending eternal possibilities of experience. So I think that, yeah, we are all forever progressing. Yeah.
With the souls that are here on Earth now, I've always wondered the question, like, as time has progressed through recorded history, you know, the world had a amount of people and it had twice as many that treated.
Yeah.
So where are all these souls coming from, and how many more souls in the population? That's
Great question. And you know what I love about studying the teachings of happy science? All the answers are actually there. So I immediately know exactly. The more you study these teachings, the more all of these answers come. And so you've got a curious mind like myself. Master Okawa teaches that, okay, on the Earth we've got about 7 billion people now, right? And growing quite quickly, headed towards 10. He said, in the spirit world, like we've been looking at all these different dimensions, in the Earth terrestrial spirit group, there's about 50 billion souls. So we've actually got 50 billion souls in our Earth terrestrial spirit group. Okay, so while we're here 7 billion on Earth, there's actually another 47 billion in the spirit world, right? So we've got more population now than's ever lived here. But and you know, even if we get to 10 billion, that still leaves 40 billion in the other world. But so some are dying here and some are incarnating here. But because the conditions on Earth, with our science and our technology, is enabling many people to be born here, you know, we have a high rate of good birth rate now as far as people not dying when they're born, and people living to old age. So it's been increasing. But that's why it can keep increasing, because there's actually more souls already in the heavenly world.
Isn't that a paradox in that, though, in that, first of all, whilst there's many, it's only one.
Yeah.
And in this spirit dimension, one is infinite.
Yeah.
And so the 6 billion,
yeah,
to become more than 50 billion, to become infinity.
You're right. And I think, you know, this is my own thought, is just from that, is that, yeah, I think that as souls get really big, they could divide to become a whole lot of spirit souls again. Yeah.
But they can come back together.
Or they could come back together.
That is, though, it diminishes the capacity of that soul, so you end up with a lower quality of soul.
Absolutely. There's only a finite amount of energy.
It's happened in the past, and we ended up.
But surely that would be the domain of, what is it,
Alcantara. Yeah. It would be decisions.
To determine how the energy develops and reunites.
I'll tell you another secret then, and then you might all throw me out of here for being crazy, is that Master Okawa said also a lot of souls have come at different times from other star systems. So, you know, some people can accept that and go, oh yeah, well that makes sense. Other people go, oh, are you crazy? How can there be life on other planets? Master Okawa actually teaches this: the universe is teeming with life. Well, it's just galaxies upon galaxy upon galaxy. So our universe, I mean, Master Okawa teaches like these multi-dimensions, the 9th dimension, the 10th dimension being a planet, an 11th dimension being a star, and a 12th dimension being a galaxy, and a 13th-dimensional universe. He teaches primordial God, or primordial Buddha, the source of everything, is a 20-something dimensional being, way, way, way beyond human consciousness or understanding. And he said that for primordial God, looking at our universe that we think is eternal and infinite, this universe that we think is everything, from eternal Buddha's eyes, is just like a puddle floating around in space with a whole lot of other universes. So it's so big and so vast, it's way beyond our comprehension. You know, we cannot comprehend how big it is. But for us to believe that we're the only life in the universe is just, it's an old thought that's going to be in the very near future, we believe, change. Because when beings turn up from other planets and we start interacting with them, which he said, he started to teach the laws of the universe because he's preparing us. He said, in the near future, we are about to become aliens and space travelers ourselves. We are going to start interacting with beings from other planets. So humans are about to take a big leap forward in their knowledge and in their experience and become, if we turn up somewhere else, we're an alien, right? You know, so an alien is someone who comes from somewhere else. But he said, yeah, at different times, there's been a lot of souls that come from other planets. And the last thing I'll say is the reason for that is that just like Australia and New Zealand are wonderful countries because there's so many people from different countries have come to Australia, right? Having a multiracial country is just fantastic. You know, multiracial and multicultural just gives it so much colour and flavour. New Zealand's the same. It's the strength of Australia and New Zealand. This world's the same. We've got beings from all over the universe that have come here, and it's a lot of the reason why there's so much difference in the ways of people's thinking also, because they've actually come from different places. But hey, thanks all very, very much for coming. Anybody who wants to receive the Dharma book, you're most welcome to.
So El Cantar is equivalent to God,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
But you say that there are other dimensions higher than the ninth dimension.
Yeah.
How can there be dimensions where they are higher than God?
Yeah, well, the 10th dimension is a planetary consciousness like our Earth.
Do you have change?
So what sort of change?
Oh, Hiroshi.
Hiroshi will have.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
good to see you.
Great. Keep in touch.
I'll be back because
Okay.
she doesn't want to go.
Okay.
I'll tell you the exact
So,
date.
yeah,
Yes, I can.
this is where the new thinking comes. Of course, see, ultimate God, primordial God, the real ultimate God is 20-something being. But he creates universes. That's a big mission, right? He creates everything. Our planet is such a tiny little speck of everything. You know, we look at the stars at night, right? There's so much. And he's the creator of all of that and everything else.
So the Almighty God, like there is no higher than Him. In which dimension is He?
20-something. So the universe is only 13. Our whole universe is 13. The Almighty is 20-something. So just way, yeah, way beyond. It's impossible for humans to understand. It's like an ant trying to understand the affairs of humans. It's impossible for an ant to understand the affairs of human beings, right? But
the highest being is probably still evolved.
so,
I love that.
So that is.
I think that's beautiful.
But what he's saying is that this Alcantari is a projection of the 20-dimensional being into the 9th dimension, so that he can take on human characteristics. So he can create for this Earth. His responsibility is Earth, and on other planets, there are other beings given similar responsibilities that are called God of the planet. So our God, Earth God, is Alcantari. But on other planets, there'll be another God. But that's also a projection of the Almighty. But we can understand the Almighty through Alcantari. Alcantari's job is to teach us about the Almighty in a way we can understand, that we can relate. And that's why Alcantari can actually, we believe, be born, very rarely, but be born as a human. Because if Alcantari wants to be born, he is light itself. It is the light itself. But he is all-powerful. He can do anything. And we believe in this case that his words are being given to humans at the moment through another human. It's through Master Okawa. Master Okawa said, I have come from Alcantari. I am Elohim, or I am Alpha. So he says, I have been born to change the world.
So Elohim is also another name for
Is Alcantari. Elohim and Alcantari is the same. Yeah. Elohim, Alcantari.
The God that the Bible teaches is that El Cantare.
Yes.
That's
but
not the God Almighty.
No, that's right. No, they didn't understand that so clearly, because we can understand. They didn't even know about universe then. At that stage, they still thought the earth was the center. Everything, at that time of the Bible, they thought that the sun went around the earth. They thought the earth was the center of the universe. So the teacher can only teach to the level that they can understand.